Ready, man? No new building. Okay, I want to call to order the regular board meeting of the Benton County Board of Commissioners. Today's Tuesday, July 29th, 9 a.m. and we're at the Benton County Courthouse in Prosser. Please join me for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Next, can I have a motion to approve the minutes of July 22nd?
Motion to go ahead and approve the minutes for July 22nd, 2025. Second.
Motion is second. All those in favor say
Aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The motion passes. Anything to add or remove from the agenda?
No, sir.
No? Okay. With that, could you play our public comment recording, Amanda, please?
The purpose of the public comment period is to give the audience an opportunity to provide comments to commissioners regarding agenda items or other topics. It is an official on-the-record communication geared toward giving information and opinions to consider in the decision-making process. While the commissioners welcome hearing from you, please note that the public comment period is not an opportunity for dialogue with commissioners or for posing questions with the expectation of an immediate answer. Many questions require an opportunity for information gathering and deliberation. For this reason, the commissioners will accept comments, but will not directly respond to comments, questions, or concerns raised during the public comment period. Audience members who wish to speak should raise your hand to be called upon by the chairman, or virtual participants use the raise hand feature. Come to the podium, or virtual participants unmute your microphone when called upon. State your name and address for the record. And after speaking, write your name and address on the record sheet. Virtual participants do not complete this step. To allow every participant an opportunity to be heard, public comments will be limited to 3 minutes per speaker. The chairman will indicate when your allowed time has elapsed. In the interest of running an orderly meeting, we ask that you do not duplicate comments made by a previous speaker. Instead, please simply confirm your agreement with previous statements. When appropriate, the commissioners may refer an item identified during public comments to the county administrator for further action. Please note that if the speaker intends to give commissioners any records of any kind as a part of a presentation, the records must be handed directly to the clerk of the board for distribution.
Thank you. With that, Mr. Atkins, are you going to speak? Okay. I'll let you go first. Give you seniority status.
Hey, don't talk about my age, please. Hey, I just have a question. I brought it up twice about the number of people that are on that we pay for hotels and apartments and store, and twice it said you would get somebody come. So I was just wondering when that will be.
Well, he's here today. I don't know if he's going to speak about that. Are you? Yeah.
I'm not sure what the question is, so
Well, the question has been, how many people are on that program? What's the longest length of time anybody has been on that program, and what are the goals and actions being taken to help them get off of that program? That's all.
Okay. Anyone in Kennewick? Judge, Robert. Oh, anyone online? Got a hand raised online on WebEx? No? None? No call? No. Okay, with that, we'll close public comment.
Sure, I'll make a motion to go ahead and approve the consent agenda items, items A through L.
second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion passes. Our public hearing now on the 2026-2031 six-year transportation improvement program. We held 2 weeks ago? Last, yeah. And so this is the final public hearing on that. Go ahead.
So yeah, as the chair mentioned, a couple of weeks ago, the Public Works Department presented to the board the draft 2026 through 2031 6-year transportation improvement program, which we call the TIP. So we are required to prepare that and submit it to the Regional Council of Governments for inclusion in the state's transportation programs. So funding we're seeking from the state or from the federal government, they need to appear on that list in order to be eligible for funding. Locally, we do have projects of our own that are either planned or using local dollars. We also include in that, but those do not get forwarded to the state. So what we're looking for today is for the board to review, take public comment on, and ultimately approve the 6-year transportation plan.
We had to advertise that.
Yeah, we've advertised the public hearing in accordance with the requirements, and Robert, you got it.
So these are the ones that I highlighted are the ones that we have secured funding for and then partially secured. And the last 4 on the last slide will be ones that are newly added. So those are not funded, but I wanted to bring those to your attention because specifically Dallas Road. With that one, I had seen a projection for Dallas Road that if we do not do any upgrades on that one within the next 10 to 20 years, the level of service will drop down to a grade of D. And currently, I believe it is at a A. But the federal function class is potentially be changed, and the tonnage, the truck tonnage annually is going to go from a T3 to a T2 because it qualifies with the last traffic control or the traffic counts that were done last year by Council of Governments. And so that would upgrade the amount of traffic that was going to be utilizing Dallas Road. And plus the Lewis and Clark Ranch would also increase the amount of traffic that would be utilizing Dallas Road.
Just a quick question, because I have a little bit of experience on this when we were going through this in the city of Richland, when they were doing the car tab fees, those type of things. So I totally get this. I know that I talked to Pete Rakowski quite a bit, which is Public Works Director there on roads. And so you caught my attention when you said it was going, right now you believe it's a grade A. And you would, instead of going, I would, and it was going down to a grade D. That's
Yes.
a significant decline. Is that because of all the, you're looking at all the new traffic and heavy traffic on that? Because that is a quick downgrade.
Yeah, within the next 20 years.
Yeah, I understand that.
And what we have is, I mean, obviously you see the development out in the Badger South area,
Yep.
which is that Dallas and 180 or 82 interchange. And then, as Robert mentioned, the Lewis and Clark Ranch, which is the Frank Teets property out there in West Richland, they are now starting to significantly develop that. They're launching their phase 1, which is going to add, I want to say 7,500 homes over the next 20 years. And so Dallas Road happens to be a major exit area for people who want to go southbound on 82 and towards Oregon and Kennewick.
So what would your goal be on that? I'm just curious. You said 10 to 20 years, you go from an A to a D grade. Are you looking at funding to bring it back up to a C or B? What are you trying to accomplish for that?
Normally we aim for no less than C.
Okay,
And so
that's what I was thinking.
in all likelihood, what we'd be looking for is, you can see the section that is within the city of Richland there on the very south end. They've got a 4-lane section or parts of it are a 3-lane with a center turn. We'd be looking to do a similar extension there. So, but also that's a significant amount of time. There's going to be other development projects. Right now, our section is outside the urban growth area.
Yeah.
And so there's discussions on changing that, but that can't happen for at least another 5 years. So, we just need to be aware of it and maybe start planning for the future. And anything we do, obviously, if it were to be taken into the urban growth area or eventually annexed, would benefit whoever got that in the end.
You caught my attention. Like I said, that's a big downgrade from an A to a D. And people, I don't think the public realizes if we let those things go, yes, you're farther down that grade level, it's super expensive. So being proactive versus reactive is very important because that's one thing that would cost. I know you guys are road guys, it would cost a ton of money if we let that go. So I appreciate, this is a good update for us.
And spending those dollars today is going to save us a lot of money as opposed to having to do that to catch up.
A lot of money. Yeah.
Road projects aren't getting cheaper. So,
Thank you.
So yeah, we just have a couple of projects here, real quick through them. We have Hanks Road, which is a project we've been working on for several years. We're hoping that phase of it will actually go to construction this year. It's fully funded. The District Line Chandler Bridge, we're replacing an old wooden deck there. That one is also fully funded. County Well Road, which is an east-west road up on the top of the hill, Course 7 Hills, that kind of serves as an alternative to Sellards Road, which is the major. We have funding secured for most of that, replacing the entire section. Phase 1, we're fully funded. We're designing that all together, but we'll build it in phases as funding allows. Badger Road there, the section between the roundabout at Leslie and Ridgeline and south to Weiser Parkway. Anybody who drives through there will tell you there's a lot of congestion challenges there right now. It hasn't gotten really, really bad yet, but there are times of the year when school's in, we see significant backups onto Weiser. So we're looking at adding a right turn drop-off lane there to be able to allow people to make that right turn and still people to turn left off of Weiser onto Badger. They'll have some comfort level that people in that right lane will actually turn right. So we've been working with the DOT on that. We'd like to see that potentially go to construction this year as well. Next one. Dade Road is a road out in Findlay. There's kind of a farm road there now, but if you've been out in that area, Game Farm Road has a long dead end. There's no way to get out of there. And anybody who's south of that on Terrell and that area, there's a significant number of homes there. If they need to come back into town, they have to go several miles west or east and then turn around and come back that same distance west once they get up to Bowles. And so making a connection through those two roads would significantly reduce the traffic on Bowles, and I think Nine Canyon is the main route that people use. So that's one that we're planning to add there too. You see there another phase of County Well. We have various safety and intersection improvement projects. The county gets funding through the Highway Safety Improvement Plan and some other, I think, active transportation plan to go out and do safety improvements. They can be lane widening, slope improvements, guardrails and delineators, stop signs, rumble strips, those kind of projects. And so we work through our countywide safety plan and identify projects, and then when we get funding, we go out and accomplish those. We've got 3 of those actively going on right now in various areas of the county. County Route 12, that's actually an improvement to the bike path that runs along the road there. So it runs from Prosser to Grandview and actually continues on significantly further than that. That's our section. That's a pretty heavily used bike path. They even have a large race on it every year. I think the Sage Rat Run is on that trail. We've done some improvements there over the years, laying back slopes, cleaning up weeds and trees, and adding some benches. And now the pavement, surface itself needs some attention. So this will replace that pavement surface. Another phase of County Well, we have Adair Road. That's a road, actually that alignment is probably the old alignment's a little bit different now. We've been working with a consultant to secure right of way for that. As the board's aware, north of Christensen Road, this is out in that Southridge area. Between Christensen Road and the highway, the city of Kennewick recently annexed that in and is wanting to develop that as an industrial lands. Everything south of Christensen is still zone rural lands 5. But we would like to put a road that connects that to provide a secondary access back to the interstate. Adair Road connects to Locust Grove right there at the interchange. And so that would make it so that if Kennewick were to develop that as an industrial park, truck traffic and stuff would have an alternative versus going through the small roads in the Southridge area. So that's a project that we've been working on for a while. I think we'll have our consultant will be coming in doing a final report to the board on the right of way. Riata and Bermuda, as the board's seen now that Queens Gate goes all the way through and ties into Bermuda, we're seeing a significant increase in traffic. I just drove through there about a week ago at 6:30 in the morning, and I was pretty surprised at how many cars were on that road. So we want to look at some intersection improvements there to be ahead of that. Right now, it's not a huge congestion, but I think that over the years, we're going to see that continue as more and more homes get built in the Badger South area. A new Costco opens, and that becomes a major way for people to get to from Badger South over to the Queens Gate shopping area. Coffin Road is a new road that we are looking at. This is really just in planning stages, but if the board's familiar, the end of Finley Road, there's significant farming activity out there, a really large winery. And the only way really to get out there is on long gravel roads. Finley is certain parts of it are narrow and windy, and so Coffin Road comes directly off of I-82 and runs over to Nine Canyon, which both are paved. And so we are looking at some sort of an extension of Coffin Road over to Finley to provide farm activities in that area, a much easier route to the interstate. That alignment is not probably where it would ultimately go. It would be adjusted for topography and things, but it's just something that we think is an important project to give farm traffic a different way out of there versus having to go all the way into Finley and then turn around, come back. 27th Avenue, the board's familiar with that. Years and years ago, the county got, I believe, a TIB grant to add curb gutter and sidewalks. Well, they only did sidewalks on the south side. The pedestrian traffic and stuff has increased significantly there, and we're going to go seek some funding to add sidewalks to the north side of that road as well and finish that off. Dallas Road, Robert talked about that section that we have through there is going to need some attention here in the next 10 years. We've done some improvements over the last few years. We added 5-foot wide shoulders, which was a big improvement. It had about 6-inch shoulders prior to that, but it needs more than that to prevent it from falling down that level of service where we don't want it to be. And then another project that kind of came at us out of the blue about a year ago was a project we got contacted by WashDOT, and they have funding through the Climate Commitment Act dollars that the project got on hold there when there was that initiative to try to repeal that. We all know that didn't get repealed, but so now we have some funding available to us, and they were looking for a project that connected recreation opportunities or more dense development areas and rural areas to bicycle and pedestrian facilities. And so the Sacagawea Trail currently ends right there at the Cable Bridge on this side of the river. There's a levee that the Corps of Engineers maintains, and it has a gravel road on the top of it, but it's not technically a publicly used trail. So we actually talked to the Corps, we talked to the state, and we came up with this idea that we should pave that trail and improve it to allow for a direct bike ped connection out to Two Rivers Park, which is one of the busiest parks in the county. So we think that's a really good project to make some improvements. The Corps is supportive because they think it's a good idea, and so that's on our list to try to get that done. We have a consultant working on a preliminary design for that in the United States.
Seems like that'd be a long bike path. That's a good little.
Yeah, we'll add several miles to
Yeah.
the bike path and
That's
connect
pretty cool.
that in. So on our side of the river, it'll go down now and be directly across the end on the other side, which is at Sacagawea Park. So. But we won't be asking for pedestrian bridge to connect the two, so don't worry about that. Any questions on the projects that we have there?
Scott,
Go ahead.
just one question on the Christensen Road, the one, coming off of Clodfelter or whatever it is, going to Christensen Road. Is that something that we team up with Kennewick as well to have them help pay for some of the costs too?
We really can't they can't spend their dollars in the county just like we can't spend our dollars in the city.
Because I just didn't know.
But we are partnering with Kennewick on that because there are portions of the road, like the intersection and stuff that are in the city limits. And so they will either take care of those or they'll require those improvements as part of development of the property.
Yeah, because I know like the Christensen Road's all gravel.
Yeah, so we won't be improving Christensen because that's all within the city limits now. So they'll either come and do that with some funding that they can get, or they'll require it for whoever develops the property.
Okay, with that, I'll open the public hearing on the 6-year transportation improvement plan. Anyone wishing to come before the board to give comments is more than welcome. Anyone here in Prosser? Anyone in Kennewick? I can't see
I don't see there's no one
No.
coming up on Kennewick.
any hands raised.
And not seeing any.
No hands on WebEx. No call, no on the phone lines, no. Okay, again, I'll ask anyone wishing to come before the board to give public comment on the 6-year transportation improvement plan. No hands yet, still raised?
Yeah, no hands.
No. With that, I'll close the public hearing and entertain a motion to approve it.
I move to approve the 2026-2031 six-year transportation improvement program as presented.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the tip. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it, the motion passes.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, scheduled business. ESHS, between County Human Services and DD Community. Kyle Sullivan.
Good morning. So I have before you today a contract for a grant agreement with DSHS for developmental disability services. It's a little bit under $3.5 million for this fiscal year. We have 12 providers that at a later date will have the provider contracts before you to sign, and they provide supported employment for people with developmental or intellectual disability. We also have that is housed in my office, a transition specialist that works with the schools to help identify individuals that would benefit from supported employment and transition them from school to work, with the ultimate goal being that there isn't a lapse in going straight from the school to employment.
Any questions? Pretty straightforward, something
Yep.
goes on and on.
Yeah, makes sense.
Okay.
Move to approve the agreement 2563-64-317 between the Department of Social Services, Social Health Services Development Disabilities Administration and Benton County Department of Services.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it, motion passes.
Thank
We'll
you.
talk about the housing when we come back up. Next, Mr. Mahoney authorizing payment to Central Manufacturing Inc. and asphalt road surface material.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, Commissioners. Yeah, that is correct. We're here making that request. And as stated in the agenda action sheet, it was identified that additional material was needed to complete planned maintenance activities, which exceeded the original contract amount. I do want to point out that that statement, although it is true, we do want to let the board know that these were planned maintenance activities, and the acquisition of these materials was well within the budget that the board approved. So even with the fiscal impact, yes, it is a true fiscal impact, but it was a budgeted impact. So just want to get that straight. But the reality of it is this request is necessary really due to a misunderstanding, miscommunication on our part with procurement as to when the effective date of the new road materials bid would go into effect. So we thought it would go into effect sooner. We were continuing to buy materials for projects that we had ongoing, and that's on us. But I will assure the board that we are making and have made internal changes to ensure that this doesn't happen again. So I don't have to come back to the board and make this type of request, that in the future we will purchase within the agreements that we have in place, and we will ensure that the new agreements are in place before we make the additional purchases as necessary. So
So it was all budgeted, just that the contract dates weren't knowledge between procurement and you.
yeah, we do them kind of on a year-to-year basis, and we did get new bids that came in, but there's that overlap. And my understanding, in our offices, there was just a misunderstanding of when the new award would have happened for the new bids. And it makes sense that they were made effective at the end of the previous, road maintenance contract. So, it's something that we should have caught, we didn't, but in the future, this won't happen.
Okay.
Move to approve the authorization to Central Manufacturing Inc. and Ergon Asphalt and Emulsions in the amount of $4,583.39 and $74,546.64 for the purchase of road surface materials.
Second.
Motion in a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it.
Great. Thank you for your time. Thanks.
Next, grant funding from State Parks and Recreation Commission. It's the boating safety program.
Morning, gentlemen. So today we're looking at an amendment to one of our grants that we receive. Every year we typically receive money from Washington State Parks and Recreation. This year was no different. We received $22,000 for a marine law enforcement program. They had some additional funding available and offered us an amendment to our contract for an additional $5,000 in an effort to have more basic law enforcement classes, which is the boater education and informing the public of boater safety, recreational safety, waterways, those types of things. And given obviously the community that we live in and the large amount of waterways and water goers that we have, we feel that it's important to provide that to the community. And so we're just looking to amend that and accept another $5,000 to help supplement our budget with funding that.
Okay. Any questions? Comments? Go ahead.
I move to approve Benton County Sheriff's Office to accept the additional recreation boating safety federal financial assistance grant award amendment, one from Washington State Parks and Recreation Commission in the amount of $5,000 for additional instructor services, and authorize Benton County Sheriff to electronically sign Amendment 1.
How are the boat races for you? 'Cause I know you guys were out there.
So,
Did you
yeah.
have any issues at all? Like, 'cause there's
I was not, but there were some folks out there.
Well, that's what I'm just saying, because my friends, they go out there with the boats. They were just saying it was kind of cuckoo crazy this time versus last year. So I just wondered.
So
in
in overall, it was probably down a little bit. There wasn't anything
Okay,
actually
good.
really
Yeah.
crazy. It was for the most part actually a pretty mild year as far as that goes. Talking to the guys that were down in the park and the command staff down there.
One of my
So-
friends was saying it's a little different being on the water with their boat than last year, but the air show was pretty sweet though.
Right.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, always good. So,
Lieutenant, I'm going to go ahead and bring it up too. He's just say, I was on one of those boats this weekend, so
yes.
I'll talk about it. Trying to shelter me a little bit.
You want to second that?
Didn't I say?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, I'll second his motion.
Would you define cuckoo crazy? Is that like cuckoo cocoa puffs or cuckoo clock or?
That's what I get for like having 5 hours of sleep at night.
Yeah, okay. Okay. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay.
Thanks.
Thank you. Next, Historic Preservation Grant Award. Katie Duval. Did I pronounce it right? Huh?
Good morning, Commissioners.
Duval.
Duvali.
Duvali,
I'm
oh.
used to it. It's
Is that a
okay.
French?
Italian.
Italian?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So I'm here this morning to present to you the contract with the Historic Preservation Grant Program and Keona Benton City Historical Society. The application was reviewed by the Historical Preservation Grant Committee. This was the last of our applications to be reviewed and brought to you for approval. We had 4 come in this year, totaling $32,551. So Keona Benton City Historical Society is requesting the amount of $4,000 to be used for the historical film about Keona Benton City. The project was actually already started and funded partially by Benton County in a previous cycle for the Historic Preservation Grant. They're asking for the $4,000 to complete the film. So it would be used for to pay the videographer, restoring imagery, creating scenes, assembling, and adding voiceover to the film. So that is $4,000 requested for that, and I'm open to any questions.
Just for public knowledge, the grant award, that comes from property tax, right? That fund is funded.
Correct, yes, and we set aside a fund on a yearly cycle at the county.
We required to collect. Any questions? Comments? Go ahead.
Ready? And also, the staff recommends approval of the grant agreement as well. So I move to approve the 2025 Historic Preservation Grant with Keona Benton City Historic Society as presented, and hereby authorize the county administrator to sign the grant disbursement agreement.
Can I second this one?
Yeah.
I'll second it.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion passes.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Next, Kyle, you're back up. Consolidated homeless grant.
Yeah, so this is probably the primary source of funding my office receives from Commerce. It's a 2-year grant. There are maybe 5 or 6 different line items within the contract that have specific services that are attached to it. Anywhere from what's called eviction prevention. That's when someone's behind on their rent. We can get them caught back up. To stave off an eviction, we can pay attorney fees, those kinds of things to keep them housed. We have what's called rapid rehousing. That's when someone is homeless and we can assist them with moving costs, first month's rent, last month's rent, a deposit, those kinds of things to get them in a unit. And so it's a grant for $15.7 million. So it's certainly not an insignificant amount of money. And so I'm asking the board to approve the grant.
The questions that Mr. Atkins was asking about, do you have rent assistance programs comes under this one too, or is that separate?
We have rent assistance. I think what Mr. Atkins was talking about was we have what's called an emergency housing fund. That's one of the line items in the grant. And it is specific for emergency situations, shelters. So we don't have a shelter that we support with that grant. We do support the My Friend's Place and the domestic violence shelter with some of our local funds with our doc recording fees. But this originally, this was a funding that was developed during COVID to get people off of the street and put them in emergency shelters. We didn't have an emergency shelter, so it ended up being hotels. Up until about a month and a half, 2 months ago, Commerce's position was that we were not going to get that funding back, that wasn't going to be part of this contract. And then when we got our award letter, it was. And so those dollars are specific for, are to help people who are homeless. We can't use those dollars for someone who is currently housed. We could use them for, if they're on the street, we can put them in a hotel. Anybody that we place in an emergency shelter, we refer to what's called foundational community supports. And they're agencies that provide a case management service to help for people that aren't disabled, help them with employment training, help them on housing searches, can help them kind of do any, build a resume, those kinds of things. And then they'll follow through with.
Is there a time limit on that program?
There isn't currently because our last contract ended June 30th. We have nobody in that program right now. We're waiting for this. We also provide another allowable expense with that is transitional housing. So we do have maybe 15 or 20 people that we provide a payment for while they're in transitional housing services, which is time limited. People exiting out of like the therapeutic courts, we can house them for up to 12 months while they transition. They complete their legal requirements and transition back into the workforce. There's with Commerce's funding, there aren't necessarily time limits. We get graded on successful exits out of the program into permanent housing. And sometimes the reality is that can take a little bit of time, especially when we're dealing with what we're seeing more now. We're actually getting more of our elderly population that are on fixed incomes, that their rent's higher than what their income is. So we kind of struggle with outcomes with regard to that.
Jim, were you looking at a specific program or just, what, 5 different programs?
No, and I appreciate that. All I see is approximately $80,000. So what you stated is some people are on there. That's, I just know total number of people that might be on this program. you know, and I don't even have to pay. I'm expecting that a while back, I figured I can.
Yeah, if you want to give me a call, I can pull those numbers. We have a reporting system. We have to report every dollar that we spend in the homeless management information system. And so we can pull those numbers out of that.
You said that also includes like my friend's place and all that kind of stuff too, right? They're two separate line items.
Yeah, and my friend's place in the domestic violence shelter are the two shelters that we support with funding from my office, but it's with our doctor recording fee, it's with our local dollars. And so we do have contracts that will be coming before you.
How about the hotel vouchers? That comes for that or no?
Yeah.
And so on the hotel vouchers, a lot of people don't understand that program too, but let me just make sure I understand it, but I believe I understand. I believe I do.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say you have homeless people within Howard England Park or any of the parks, and they're there, and there's a lot of kids playing, a lot of families there. This was a way where law enforcement could not ask people to leave, even if they were being not good citizens. They could not make them go to a homeless shelter because they had rules, those type of things. But this was a way that we could encourage people with a hotel voucher. They maybe leave the park and go someplace where it might have been safer for everybody involved.
That's exactly it. And the reality of it was law enforcement wasn't able to essentially kick them out of the park without having an alternate housing option for them. And so we work a lot with local law enforcement. We have an outreach coordinator that goes out with each of the cities on specific days. And they go to these, they go to where,
we know the places, but yeah.
Yeah.
Because I know when I was on Richmond City Council, I think we had talked about this, and this was an avenue that because we had a lot of complaints from families. Does it work? Is it a great program? It's mixed feelings on it because some of these people go to those hotels, break the rules, and they're back out on the street.
Well, that's the problem.
That's a tough one.
Because when if RPD gives us a call and they've got someone in Howard England Park and my staff go out and meet with them and place them in a hotel. Well, if they punch a hole through the wall or steal a television set, we're disinclined to put them back. And so there are some of those people that are out there that we've tried entering into the program and it's just not worked. The ones that are able to comply with the hotel rules and with our requirements to participate with FCS services, work towards bettering their circumstances, then that's when the program.
And hopefully that recovery center that we're putting all this together might help as well.
Yeah, I think a lot of the people that are failing in these programs, they have other issues that I think would be directly impacted by the recovery center.
Hopefully the health professionals can talk to that. So hopefully, Jim, that kind of answers your question. I want to bring up some of those programs because they're pretty vital to the community.
Okay.
Motion.
Motion.
I move to approve the consolidated homeless grant from the Washington State Department of Commerce.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, get with Mr. Atkins there. Check my blood sugar. Okay, other business. Commissioner Alvarez, you said you had 5 or 6, 7 issues?
Yeah, just a few things. Good
Okay.
things. You want to
Unless Commissioner McKay has anything? Nothing? Okay.
So I had the privilege, Lieutenant Clark, had the privilege to go ahead. I want to say thanks to the Sheriff's Office and everybody involved in that. I had the privilege, I think it was Saturday, I went out on the Sheriff's jet boat during the boat races. And it was Deputy Forrest. And Deputy Oler. And I can tell you the knowledge they have, I've had a jet boat for over 20 years, and the knowledge they have and the quality of the boat. And it was, we're always approving those items, and you want to see if they're actually using the money the best possible way, taxpayer money. And I can tell you, very knowledgeable Deputy Oler, very knowledgeable, and he's been doing this. He has his own jet boats as well. So we had a lot in common there. And the tools that they had in there and what they thought that they needed to have in that boat was pretty impressive. I learned a few things myself. Pretty knowledgeable. I can tell they are proud of that. They're taking care of it. And it's a challenge. Any jet boat, there's a challenge with all the milfoil in there. The jet gets clogged up and they have to go kind of clean that out. I think they did a lot of community. They had a ton of community involvement with all the boats on the river. They were handing out or throwing out frisbees. The frisbee said, I couldn't believe the adults really wanted these things really bad, but it said, we're a life preserver. And the kids had little, they threw little footballs out there. So everybody was really, really cool with law enforcement out there. It kept everybody safe. They only had one person that, she drifted off on a floaty and went down and was going down toward where the racers were. Yeah, of course was. So we picked her up and brought her back to her boat while the guys were still on the boat looking down the river at her. But it was a good experience. I was proud to be out there with them. They represented the county real well, and I just want to give thanks and tell the deputies thank as well for that. There was another portion, I thought this was pretty interesting. We're always talking about.
You weren't wearing knee-high socks and white socks and shorts.
Yeah, I was. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm going to dress appropriately. I'm going to be cool. And there was a lot of law enforcement agencies out there. Yakima County was out there. They had a boat out there too. Yeah. We're always talking, we're pretty, financially conservative here on our board. I saw a new state fee for people that are purchasing homes. We're always talking about making things more, trying to make it more affordable to buy homes. There's a new fee that's coming out. It's a foreclosure prevention fee. It's $80 plus sales tax. It's a new fee that everybody's going to get charged for in case something happens down the road and they can get education on how to maybe not have a foreclosure, have to go through all that. But at the same time, federal law, every home buyer has to get a 4-page document talking about that and all the education. They can also has programs. You have to let them know they have programs out there that you want to get. Buyer education can do that too. So I was kind of shocked to see that fee going out there for what? Once again, more expensive to home buyers. One more tax. We're going to have, it's official, I think we put that all on our calendars. August 11th, we're going to do a workshop in reference to the fair. I know it's going to be a length of term, length of release, any improvements that Fair Board's willing to do to the property itself, liability insurance, naming rights, sponsorship, all those type of things. I think it's going to be a pretty good meeting. I can tell you I've done a lot. You know how I am. I'm pretty analytical. I've done a lot of homework on that. I'm going to bring up food trucks. I'm going to talk about everything. But I know that at the end of the day, and Commissioner McKay, I think we agree on this. We're both financially responsible. Very physical evidence when it comes to taxpayer brand facilities. I want this to be a good thing, but at the end of the day, I'm going to ask staff. I want staff to not be in the middle. I want them to go ahead and make a recommendation just like they do on every item that we have. So I'm going to put you guys on the spot a little bit on that. It'll be a good conversation. I know where I'm at on it already, and I'll be publicly letting everybody know right now, no matter how this goes, I've got enough education. If the Fair Board is willing to sign a lease to the items that we want and what you guys want, I'm for it for right now with some potential modifications. I think Commissioner McKay, you have a couple things you have on that too, and so it'll be a good conversation on that. Last but not least, on the lighter note, 2 things. My daughter is actually, we have a couple of attorneys in here, and I just met another civil attorney that's brand new to Benton County. My daughter is actually taking the bar. I guess it's 2 days long, 8 or 9 hours a day for the next 2 days over there in Tennessee. And then I have to say this because my wife has endured me since college. So today is our 36-year wedding anniversary. So she's put up with me. I'm going to say it before you say it. She's put up with me for 36 years. So after this, I'm going to go ahead and we're going to have breakfast or lunch and then have a good day. And that's all I have.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
The only thing I wanted is, there was a note from the sheriff IT has a new AI policy, chatbot, whatever that stuff's called. And he tried, I don't know if you guys answered it or not, but I talked to staff. With the announcement from IT has nothing to do with our decision that we did on that program. That was about something else, not dealing with. It uses AI, but it's not. That wasn't our issue with that. It's different from what IT's policy is, the public policy, our decision on that. It was a license agreement program, the license plate or whatever it is. Or not. No, it's a social media.
It's facial recognition, those
Facial
things like that. And once again, I guess I'm still pretty strong on that. I know I probably disagree to agree with some people on that.
Right.
But it wasn't even the privacy side for me. Once again, there were some potential national lawsuits on there. We'd be the first ones in the state to have it. Benton County would. There's thousands of law enforcement agencies throughout the United States. I understand. I would like to have something like that. I think it'd be being more proactive is always being better than reactive. But at the same time, the county, and that's before I came in here. If you look at a tactometer on a car, yellow and red, green, yellow, and red, or whatever, red and yellow, we have a lot of liability right now, past what we should have as far as our risk pool. It exceeds that. Until that goes down, we're in the red zone, and I just don't feel comfortable with that because it's not if we're going to get sued, we are going to get sued, and it could be for a whole lot of money, especially in Washington State. So I'm with you. I agree with you.
Trial lawyer heaven. Not to disparage you, my trial lawyer friends. With that, anything from the staff? Josie? Ken? Don't start building any new buildings because you don't have the money. It's all tied up in investments. Yeah, that's it.
I'd like to get together with a group and look at
Cash flows.
cash flows as well as the inflow of money coming from grants. We need to kind of get together and visualize where this stuff is. We all work.
You want to put a group together then with Linda maybe or
Yeah.
department? You want to?
Capital projects. We can see that we're going down the right track and now those are the funding.
Okay. Why don't you willing to organize that then as the treasurer? Okay. Okay. Who else? Judge there in Kennewick? Nada? Nothing? Okay, we have one executive session to talk about pending litigation. How long do you think? 10 minutes? Okay, we'll go in executive session at 20? Okay, 20 minutes. It is now 9:48 and we're going into executive session on pending litigation. What's the topic? And do you know all of these?
So you wanted to buy it, how would that work? Where would it go?
We recording? We're on? Okay, we're out of the executive session. It is now 10:08 a.m. No decisions were made regarding pending litigation. With that, anything else from the board, the order? Okay, meeting adjourned. Everyone have a good rest of the day. Thank you.